Hey there, guys. My name is Brandon, aka Suns Geek, and if it has to deal with the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make a video about it. That is right, guys. I am joined by two special guests, Bright Side of the Suns Jam Session podcast, John and Matt. How you guys doing tonight?
Dude, very well. How you doing, man?
Fantastic. What is going on, guys? John, Matt, you want to introduce yourselves?
Go ahead, John.
Hi, I'm John. No, thank you, Brandon, for having us on. My name is John, aka Darth Voida on Twitter. I am a podcaster at Suns Jam on both Instagram and Twitter. That's the Suns Jam Session podcast, and this is awesome, man. I'm really excited that you decided to have us on the program. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. This is Matthew Paul Lissy at Matthew Lissy at Twitter. That's all I do really is a Twitter thing a little bit. Besides that, Bright Side of the Sun. And thank you for having me, man. I was super excited today. Like, I couldn't wait to get on this podcast and just talk Suns.
Amen.
Well, thank you guys so much for both being here. I really appreciate it. Once again, Bright Side of the Suns Jam Session podcast with Matt and John. Go check out all their stuff. I'll make sure to link everything down below in the description. I know the podcast is already linked, and their Twitter, it's at Suns Jam on Twitter, so make sure to go follow them. They do great work over on their channel. They were nice enough to have me on October 16th, where we talked about the Suns off-season speculation, which completely everything from that show is
it's done.
It's done. And
Complete.
It's like, I actually rewatched it last night, and I'm like, man, some of the things we were talking about on there, we had no clue what was going to happen. It was great, but it's a really good show. Really good time. I was drinking a beer and I was feeling it during the show. So
that sounds about right. That's what we do on the Suns Jam Session. And in an effort to keep up with consistency, I'm going to bust out a Coors Banquet beer because I've been watching a lot of Cobra Kai. That's what Johnny Lawrence drinks in it. So cheers, man. Thanks for having us on.
Cheers. I got
you go ahead. Oh, I'm right with you. I got a Diet Coke.
You nerds.
Hey, it's during the week, you know? We're not married like you, so we gotta. I'm just joking. I don't know if he's married or not.
No, I'm not married. But that's the thing, you guys. We're gonna get to know you on the show, and then we're gonna talk Phoenix Suns basketball, obviously. And once again, thank you guys so much for wasting your time with me today, coming on the show. And thank you to everybody who is here right now. I really, really appreciate it. I have to do a couple little promos real quick.
Of course.
Make sure to Hulk smash the like button on this live stream so that YouTube knows that we're doing a good job and that we can do more in the future. And you guys totally don't have to, but if you guys would like to, donate to Super Chat, because donating to Super Chat will help my videos and it will help the channel, and I will invest it right back into the channel. So if you guys want to, hit that Super Chat button and feel free to donate whatever you guys would like. I totally understand if you don't want to. But with that being said, let's get into the questions here. I got a few questions for you guys.
All right.
Let's start
questions.
with
I love it.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Did Suns Geek freeze?
Oh.
All right.
Frozen.
Well,
It's a good pose.
We'll carry the show until Suns Geek's internet kind of catches back up. You know, thankfully, over at the Suns Jam Session podcast, we do this from time to time. So, Matthew, how's your day today? Any exciting Suns news pop up that really got you kind of stoked? Because I know something that got me stoked.
Oh, was it the Jay Crowder interview?
Jay Crowder,
oh my
man.
God. It was good when Kelly Oubre wanted to be here as a Sun, but now with Jay Crowder turning down money to be with the Phoenix Suns because of Chris Paul, because of Devin Booker, that is just, I was smiling my whole way home listening to that interview.
Yeah, it was, for those of you who don't know, Jay Crowder was on the Burns and Gambo show, the local Arizona affiliate, and he was sharing his kind of reasoning for coming and staying with or signing with the Phoenix Suns. And one of the questions that Gambo asked him was, hey, was Dallas the other team that was going to potentially be on his list, of places to go? And for Jay Crowder, he's somebody who was drafted 34th overall by the Dallas Mavericks. So that happens, you think he could potentially go there, and he signs with the Suns. And Gambo asked him there, hey, there he is. All right.
Yeah,
to be continued.
We ran out of material.
yeah, right. Us.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen.
Let's get it out of the way. Let's get it out of the way.
3, 2, 1, bam. What were you guys talking about?
Oh, we're talking about Jay Crowder.
Yeah, the Jay Crowder interview he had with Burns and Gambo today, where he essentially said he took less money to come to Phoenix because he wanted to help be part of something special. When you hear interviews like that, especially knowing that over the past couple of weeks, the Suns organization's been dinged a little bit with the departure of Kelly Oubre and Ricky Rubio. It's nice to hear a story like that of a player who could have chose Dallas, a team that potentially has more hype behind it. He chose to come to Phoenix because he wanted to be part of something special.
Right. And also, don't forget, he could have returned to the defending Eastern Conference champion, the Miami Heat, too.
Exactly.
I think that caught a lot of people by surprise. And thank you so much. You guys are pros because you guys do this all the time. So you guys were just like, oh, you know what? Suns Geek's not here. Let's just keep talking.
Yeah, you had like a kind of you had a cool pose going on. We're like, oh, yeah, he's not psyching us out, man.
We were prepared, I guess.
He gone.
Like I said, the last time I went live with Romp 2.0 and Reliable Rants, the same thing happened. They just started talking basketball too. So sorry for the inconvenience, everybody. Thank you guys for carrying the show. What I was trying to ask you before I was rudely interrupted by internet connection, first world problems. John, how long have you been a Suns fan? And then we'll get to you, Matt.
Oh, man. Well, I'm probably the old guy in the room. I've been a Suns fan since 1988. So I was born in 82. So about 6 years old is really where I feel we all start to connect ourselves with sports teams. At the time, I was living in Los Angeles, born in Phoenix, but grew up in Los Angeles. And there was two things I know. Showtime Lakers was going on. Right. My dad hated Pat Riley, hated Magic Johnson. And, he's like, he told me two things. He goes, one, you're from Phoenix, so you're a Phoenix Suns fan. And two, there's this guy in Chicago playing, and you should really pay attention to him. So I really became, as a child, I was really big into Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. And then my Western Conference team was the Phoenix Suns. And then I moved back to Phoenix in 95. And I mean, it's just been, purple and orange ever since. So quite some time. I remember Tom Chambers. I remember KJ. I remember Marley. I remember acquiring Charles Barkley and what that meant to the organization. So I go back quite some time.
Yes, sir. How about you, Matt?
Well, I don't know how old I was. It might have been Barkley's last year here in Phoenix, but I remember just being little. It's not an exciting story. It might be sad if you think like little kid stories are sad, but I was just in the living room playing with my little Batman toy, and I was flying it around, even though Batman doesn't fly. And I was looking at the TV, and Charles Barkley was on the TV, and I'm like, what is this? I just remember that so vivid. Right. And I was like, this seems interesting. So that was like the first game I saw. I don't barely remember it, but I just remember being little and just watching the Suns whenever they're on TV on the weekends, NBC Sports. Just everything's so big. The ball's so big, the rim, the net, everything just was awesome. I loved it so much. And going to the Suns games, I just remember taking that first peek behind the curtain when you first walk in, and then you see the floor and everything. And that just took off. I fell in love, absolutely fell in love with basketball at that point. But yeah, ever since, I mean, I've been very emotional with the Suns, emotionally attached. So ever since, I'm probably 5 or 6.
Yeah. No, that's a great story, man. I like the way you worded that, emotionally attached. I feel like that's how I am with basketball. Like, I feel like I am just obsessed with the game. Absolutely love NBA basketball. I love the Phoenix Suns. I told you guys this last time on the podcast. I just love NBA history. I don't know what it is. I love all the old school legends, especially since obviously the game has really, really changed since then. I love it. So kind of a follow-up question, and we kind of talked about this on your show, but I just figured I would ask you guys so that the chat can get to know you guys, so the fellow Suns Geeks out there can get to know you guys a little bit better. How did the Suns Jam Session podcast become to be? Like, I know you guys work for Bright Side of the Sun, correct?
Mm-hmm, correct.
Yeah.
Dude, Matt, how about we start with you? How did the Suns Jam Session podcast become to be?
I feel like it started too late. We should have started this a long time ago. John and I lived together. I lived with my sister and my niece. John was there too. He kind of fell in there about 5 or 6 years ago. We shared a house, maybe 2 years. But I feel like it started then where we just watched Suns games. We wanted to watch Suns games and have wine, call it Wine and Suns. Yeah. That never happened. But then as soon as John moved out and I moved out, we went our separate ways. We decided, hey, let's start doing a podcast. And it was a perfect time because now the Suns are doing great. Right. A lot more people can watch. We can all share this together. But I think that was really when it started, when we moved out. It was like the first or second month, right, John?
Yeah, no, it's interesting, for all the Suns geeks out there, we've been doing this for just over a year. And to Matthew's point, it feels like we've been doing it a lot longer because we used to, we're big fan of podcasts ourselves. We listen to the Bill Simmons podcast. Matthew's got, he loves Dan Lebitard, Zach Lowe. So, we've always been, and we talk about those podcasts while we were watching Suns games. And we're like, finally we move out and we move to different parts of the city. And we're like, you know what? We miss talking Suns with each other all the time. So it's like, let's start a podcast. So we actually met you, Brandon, at a Suns game.
Yes, sir.
And it was a season opener, I think, against the Sacramento Kings last year. We met you. You had a card. Like, I'm the Suns geek. If it's about the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make a video about it. I'm like, why don't we just go for it, man? I'm like, we looked you up. You had like 2,000 something subscribers on YouTube. Yep. We looked at your content, and I was just like, this is awesome. Like, we have the capability to do something like this. So we started in my garage November 4th of last year, so just over a year ago. And back then we called ourselves the Solar Report.
Yep.
And we would sit there and we would just do kind of a podcast. We put them out via Buzzsprout, and we get 50 to 60 listeners an episode. It was really exciting. And then as time progressed, about January of last year, I started writing for Valley of the Suns, which is a fan-sided website. I started doing that a little bit, and then shortly thereafter, Dave King from Bright Side of the Sun reached out to Matthew and I, and he saw that we did our podcast consistently. For those of you who are listeners, or if you're not, we put a podcast out twice a week. We do Sunday nights and Thursday nights. We actually do live streams on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And
Link
then that audio
in the description.
Thank you for that. Down below is where you can check that out. But we do it twice a week, and I think that Dave really appreciated the fact that we were consistent and passionate about what we do. And then after that, his Dave King and Espo and Saul Bookman, they have the solar panel.
Yes.
So, Dave kindly asked us to change our name from the Solar Report.
He
so
sent us death threats. We got death threats in the mail.
It was terrifying. It was terrifying. Yeah. It was this past February. So we were the Suns Report for about, 50 days maybe. And then we just came up, we were like Suns Jam Session, because it's John and Matthew Jam. And like from there, we just kind of continue during the pandemic. We put out 2 to 3 episodes every week. I don't know how we came up with content. I think we were doing our favorite Marvel characters at one point. So
quarantine, man. You got to come up with stuff during quarantine. I know I sure did.
But it was great because it gave us an opportunity to really perfect our craft, and at the same time, like, utilize technology, because Matthew used to have to drive all the way up from, he lives down in Ahwatukee. I'm in North Phoenix. He would have to come all the way up here to record. And then we realized how to do it on Zoom, scrape the audio, go to live streams. I've worked with you, Brandon, a lot on kind of how to do a live stream. And so we are forever grateful for the assistance you provided the Suns Jam Session podcast.
Yes, sir. Well, great story. I actually learned a couple of things. And honestly, that's kind of why I wanted to ask you guys that, because there's a lot of history there. And by the way, when you said you first started, you said you had about 50 listeners. That's pretty good. I mean, we all got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, I think it was Matthew listened to it like 50 times.
Freaking repeat.
Yeah.
He was like, Beyonce,
my
mom.
voice cracked again. Dang it. Yeah.
No, that's a really great story. You said you started in your garage. Well, so did Apple. You know what I mean?
Amen.
Like tons of companies started small. I mean, I started off using a Lenovo Windows laptop. You know what I mean? And I use Windows Movie Maker. Yeah, right. By the way, Lenovo's are great. That computer has lasted me years. So shout out to Lenovo. And I also wanted to give a shout out. You were talking about Bright Side of the Sun. Dave King, he does absolute excellent work. And the Sun Solar Panel, I just saw recently that they have partnered with Fox Sports Arizona. Yeah. So shout out to them. That is absolutely incredible. And just shout out to you guys. Bright Side of the Sun. The Suns Jam Session podcast, which I think is a clever name, by the way.
Thank you.
Great job, guys. That's all I got.
I remember when John came up with it. I think we were golfing like a 9-hole, and John's like, Jam Session. Why didn't? And like we used to change our name all the time. I think we had 10 different names before that one. And I'm like, well, you want to wait a little bit before we change this one again? And he's like, nope, let's just do it now. And then we did. We got made fun for it. But now it's our name, permanent name. So,
I love talking about this stuff too. And we're going to get to the Phoenix Suns topics coming up soon here. But if you are, a blogger or a podcaster or any kind of content, if you run an Instagram page or whatever it is you do, just start. We kind of talked about that in the past, and that's my best advice to anybody. I get DMs all the time. People saying like, hey, how do you run your YouTube channel and how did you do this and how did you do that? And I just say, you just got to start. That's the best advice I can give you.
Yep.
Just, be consistent as well. That's one thing I've learned over the years. You know, I used to do a video a month and then it turned into a video every 2 weeks. And now it's like almost daily, especially with all the Suns news lately. I've just been putting in that work, and I know you guys have been putting in the work as well. So once again, you guys check out the Suns Jam Session podcast. Links are down below in the description. They do great work. I know that we're kind of jumping.
Real quick, this upcoming Sunday is our 100th episode with Brightside as the Suns Jam Session, because we did 40 on our as a Solar Report. We're hitting 100 episodes. So again, you know, to echo Brandon's point, if you like to create stuff, man, just be consistent with it. You know, you're not going to be successful if you put out a podcast and you wait 3 weeks and you put out another one. Like, you know, if you're passionate and you're positive, good things happen. That's like Life Stories by Darth Vader.
Exactly. You got anything to add to that, Matthew? Or
you know what?
Don't do drugs.
Yeah, just don't do drugs. Stay out of school and don't do drugs.
Out of school.
So I know we're jumping from topic to topic here. I probably should have asked this question before we talked about, you know, how your podcast came to be, but I'm going to start with John here. Who is your current favorite Phoenix Suns player and why? Because I mean, obviously we got a lot of new players, and you know, I think last time I had asked you this, my answer was Kelly Oubre, but he's no longer on the Suns.
Yes.
Can we take a moment of silence for Kelly Oubre for a minute?
Thanks,
so go
Kelly.
ahead, John. Who's your favorite current Phoenix Suns player?
I mean, the obvious answer, I feel, is Devin Booker. He's the guy who's really kind of changed this organization. But for me, it's DeAndre Ayton. Like, when we drafted DeAndre Ayton, I was instantly a fan. I don't even own a Booker jersey. I have an Ayton jersey. And I have a ton of jerseys. And, you know, I know that for Christmas, I'm getting myself the Valley jersey, and it will be Booker. So that will be my first Booker jersey. But DeAndre Ayton really is mine, because I really feel like he is somebody who's going to be the linchpin of this team. I mean, he is your number one overall pick, the first time the Suns have ever had a first overall pick, much akin to my favorite Arizona Cardinal, Kyler Murray. You know, so I instantly am in on these guys. They hold a lot of weight with me. And like every Suns player, like DeAndre Ayton frustrates me. But at the end of the day, when you look at the box score, like, this guy's just tapping his potential, and he's a F-bomb and monster. So I'm all for him. I'm 100% behind DA. Javon Carter too. I love that guy. He's my bench guy.
Yep.
C4, baby.
Yes, sir. Matthew, how about you? Who's your favorite Phoenix Suns player and why?
Well, I mean, it was Josh Jackson, and then now he's not on the team anymore either.
And before that, it was Alex Len.
You know what, though? It was never really Booker, just because I felt like he wasn't there yet as a superstar. I didn't want to go all in just in case he wanted to leave Phoenix or something. And I didn't want to be heartbroken maybe by that. Maybe that's what it was. But now I just feel like it is Devin Booker. I mean, the reason we're going into the season so happy is because of Devin Booker. Chris Paul came in here because of Devin Booker. And of course, the front office. Jay Crowder is now here because of Devin Booker. Any future free agent, who knows the max player we might get in the future because of Booker. So like the Valley boys, the Valley jersey, John's going to get the number 1 with Devin Booker. I'm actually going to go DeAndre Ayton jersey this year, but Booker is actually my favorite player going into this season.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. My jersey collection's kind of weird. I have like a lot of old school kind of NBA jerseys. My son's jersey collection, I have a couple Bookers, but I always wanted to get an Oubre one, and now I can probably get it for cheap somewhere.
Yeah,
I need to step up my jersey.
You can still get one though and wear, right? I feel like you can still wear the Oubre jersey to
absolutely.
games,
I love Kelly Oubre. I would rock that. You know, it's Kelly Oubre.
Yeah,
that's a great point, though. It's like, what jerseys can you wear and and what jerseys can you not wear of former players? Like, I remember the last Suns game I was at, somebody was wearing a Rodney Rogers jersey, and I had to tell him, like, that's awesome, man. Like, but if you see somebody who's wearing like a Markieff Morris jersey,
I was gonna say
like, that's what I thought too. I was like, probably not a Markieff Morris jersey.
You're not going to wear that. Like the two kids who bought the Bender jersey, who are from Bender Island, you're probably like, man, bad investment, kid. You know,
that's a pretty bad
jersey?
You got one?
I got a couple Bender jerseys.
Nice.
Two of them.
Still rock those, dude.
All right, well, we'll allow you.
Yes. I don't know. I was just one of those people, you know, that's why you shouldn't listen to me when it comes to draft advice, because I was like, Dragan Bender, this guy's going to be solid. And I was totally wrong.
I was the same way too, man. And he still has the potential.
Yep. Still got it. I'm believing in Bender until he retires.
Yes.
But moving on here, kind of a follow-up question. We'll just tackle this one real quick, and then we'll start talking more Phoenix Suns here. Who is your past favorite Phoenix Suns player? Matthew, I think I know your answer, so let's start with your answer.
Okay. Yeah, it's Steve Nash. He's my favorite player of all time. I think when I really got into the Suns is when, before Nash, like maybe a season 2 before, and then when Nash came in, turned everything around. It was crazy. It was just like night and day. He came in, started winning like crazy. The whole system was just amazing to watch. I feel like I use amazing a lot. Like someone, I don't know. But anyways, but Nash is definitely my favorite just because, like Booker in a way, players want to come play with him. Everybody gets better from him. And I think Booker's going to be that way in the future too. But you saw it with Steve Nash. He made everyone's career. A lot of favorite players, like maybe John's, just maybe I want to spoil it, but maybe the Matrix. But because of Steve Nash, I feel like the Matrix got those stats and all that. But even Stoudemire as well. I mean, I think he helped him in his career as well. For that reason, I'm going to choose Steve Nash. We couldn't have done it without him. And I kind of miss the Barkley era, even though I do remember a little glimpse of it when I was little. But besides that, I just remember Nash all too well.
Sir. Steve Nash. John, I think I already know your answer too. I think he's in the backup.
Shawn Marion. I absolutely loved Shawn Marion. You got to realize, like, he was kind of the link between the back end of the Barkley era and the Steve Nash era. I mean, drafted in '99, still wore those old Sunburst jerseys. And I love guys who play with the hustle that he did. You know, somebody just popped up, Dan Marley. He was another guy, you know, growing up as a kid, like Thunder Dan was a big favorite of mine. KJ was a big, I was a big fan of his as well, because I like guys who just hustle and play hard and, you know, kind of put their head down and just get the job done. AC Green is another one that I was a huge fan of. But Shawn Marion, by far, you know, the day that he was traded was a frustrating day for me as a Phoenix Suns fan, knowing that we got Shaq and Marcus Banks in return. Like, it was the end of an era for me. And, you know, there's reasons why, and I understand those reasons why, you know, but he went on and he won a championship with the Mavericks, you know, but you go back to those Suns days and a guy who was putting up, you know, like 22 and 15 and filled in for Amari Stoudemire when Amari Stoudemire was out with a knee injury for an entire season. Shawn Marion stepped up and showed out. And he's just, you know, to this day, he is easily my favorite Phoenix Sun.
Yes, sir. Future Hall of Famer, in my opinion.
I hope so.
No clue why he's not in the Ring of Honor. I kind of feel like maybe he's one of the more underappreciated Phoenix Suns of all time. And you guys know me with that. I love all the legends, as you can see in my background. I feel like Alvin Adams is in that category too.
Oh, absolutely.
Thunder Dan, you could argue. He's just one of those players, man. He was amazing. And I'm glad that he won an NBA championship, even if it wasn't with the Phoenix Suns. But yeah, I love your passion for Shawn Marion. You know, I love how you guys are, you know, Steve Nash and everything. Phoenix Suns legends, man. I could talk about them all day. I love my Suns history.
Yes.
But let's talk about the present here. By the way, we just got a whole bunch of people joining us. So shout out to everyone who is in the chat. Once again, you guys, make sure to go subscribe and check out the Suns Jam Session podcast. Links down below in the description. Make sure to Hulk smash the like button on this live stream. And if you guys are so generous, if you guys would like to donate a super chat to me, I would really, really appreciate it. And I would invest it right back into the channel. Just hit that super chat button and I would really, really appreciate it. So let's talk about kind of the main topic here. And I think I was overthinking this. We kind of talked about it before. It's a simple question, kind of, but who should start at power forward for the Phoenix Suns? And before you guys answer, I just want to read you guys a couple small stats. This is kind of a stat. It kind of matters, but it kind of doesn't. Jay Crowder has 297 games started throughout his career. I think he's been in the league maybe 8-9 years, but Dario Saric has 201. Then, you know, there's players like Jalen Smith who could potentially start, Cam Johnson. We have a very versatile roster. We are loaded with wings, guys that can play multiple positions. So even though I guess it is kind of an easy question to answer, who should start at power forward? Let's start with you, Matthew.
It actually is a more difficult question, I think, just because we have Jay Crowder, we have Saric. Saric, my whole thing is I can't wait for him to be the sixth man on the Suns. I talk about this endlessly with Saric. Now that he has re-signed with the Suns and he plays so well at the bench, just stay there. I hope no matter how good he plays, just don't put him into that 4 spot. But I'm going to say Jay Crowder does start. Jay Crowder does start, but halfway through the season, I think you're going to see Cam Johnson take over that role, just because I think Cam could do so much more than what Jay Crowder can do offensively. So we're going to need that to be in the offense into the starting lineup. So I'm going to say Jay Crowder at first, but Cam will come in, I feel like, just to take over the job, which I'm fine with. And I think Jay Crowder would be fine with it too, because you even heard in the interview today, he's excited to teach people. He's excited to learn too. So part of teaching, I feel like it's just to give up that 4 spot to the younger guy, Cam Johnson, who is not even that much younger. I think he's like 5 years younger, but give it up to him, because I feel like he's the future 4 right now for the Phoenix Suns.
And John, you guys said you talked about this on your podcast last night. What are your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, I'll echo Matthew's sentiment. I mean, I think one thing that you have to remember is injuries will happen. Okay. Right. And I think the fact that the Suns are as deep as they are this year is going to allow for a lot of opportunity for us to actually win those games when injuries do occur. Jay Crowder's the obvious start at power 4. Now, granted, he's 6'6". So if we start him at the 4, he might be a little short. I wouldn't be surprised if he played the 3 and Mikal Bridges got some starts at the 4 due to his length. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Cam Johnson is 6'8", maybe 6'9". Yeah. So the great thing, and then of course Dario starts. The great thing is that versatility. So there might not be a permanent starting 5 that the Suns are going to roll out there. They might have the ability, when healthy, to put out a starting 5 that meets the defensive and offensive capabilities to beat the team that they're playing. If you're playing the Lakers, you're going to need length, because they have they have plenty of length. If you're playing a team like the Spurs, they're more, kind of perimeter players, and they have LaMarcus Aldridge primarily. So, I mean, Monty Williams at his disposal is going to have the opportunity to play all these different lineups. So the power forward position, I really feel like Jay Crowder / Saric, you might see a little bit at the beginning of the year from a veteran standpoint, with knowing that you're going to have your second, third year guys in Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges take over those positions and have the ability to play. And I think that again, that's what makes this team so exciting, is that depth from 1 to 15. I mean, you're looking at Etwan Moore potentially being the 10th guy off the bench, and that's a good thing. I mean, so the power forward position will be interesting to see how they navigate it, but I don't think it's going to be something set in stone.
That was an absolute amazing summary and analysis from both of you, and that's our live show. That's all I got. No, all right, everybody. No, but seriously, that's basically it. I mean, I didn't really want to throw Mikal Bridges in there, because I was like, would he really want to play power 4? But I'm like, he's got the size, he's got the defense in order to do it. And you summed it up perfectly. I feel like this is one of those rosters that the Suns haven't had in a long time, where we are straight up versatile. We have so many options. I've said this multiple times, and I'm going to say it many times again, that I am so excited to see what Monty Williams is going to do with this roster, the rotations, the minutes. And you are right. Unfortunately, can't do anything about injuries.
Well, that's what killed us last year.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, we might have a virus problem, but God forbid, I'm praying that none of that happens. But there's going to have to be, things that are going to have to be switched. And I could see Jay Crowder maybe starting the season, and then maybe you throw Cam Johnson in there, maybe Mikal Bridges. Dario Saric is going to be a great 6th man. I hope he continues to embrace that role. And that's another reason I'm so glad that we brought him back. I've said this before. In my opinion, the contract that he got, I felt like was kind of a really good deal, considering that, Gordon Hayward got $100 billion,
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
money.
I mean, you guys both summed it up perfectly. I don't really know if there's anything I could add to that, but I was really curious. I was like, I need a second and third opinion on this, because, Jay Crowder is one of the more overlooked signings, in my opinion. And he's going to help this team. He's going to do wonders for this team. He's a good player. I kind of said this too. I was like, Jay Crowder is not really your first option, but if he was on your favorite team, you'd love him. So that's my rant. Yes. Matthew, you got anything to add to what we just said?
Another great thing about this is I feel like Ayton's going to be the 5. I don't feel like they can really have him play the 4 this year, which would be great to see, because I don't want to see him at the 4, even though he wanted to play power forward last year. He's not. He'll be a center, because we don't have a Baines anymore. We have Jalen Smith. He's a little bit smaller, but I don't think they're going to have him play the 5. And then Aiden go to the 4, but we have so many 4s, so many wings to where we can mix and match so well. So that's why I'm most excited about that. And then just have Aiden be our anchor in the middle. Like Jay Crowder said today, he'll be our anchor on the offensive end and the defensive end. So that's really, out of all of this, the whole power forward talk is Aiden will stay at the 5. So I'm happy about that.
And then, Monty Williams, or it was James Jones, I'm sorry. I'm sure Monty said it too, but James Jones said he wants to see DeAndre Ayton and Jalen Smith play together. So that's going to be interesting too. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting to see how many minutes Jalen Smith gets. And you guys probably know this. Monty Williams, like if you're playing hard in practice, he doesn't care what your name is. He's going to give you minutes. So it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, that was the Elia Kobo curse. That guy played really hard in practice, so he got too many minutes during the game last year. So, cheers to Elia Kobo, and I hope you have a good time playing in Brooklyn, and I'm glad I don't have to watch you anymore.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
No, I was just say I hope we don't have to worry about that this year. Is like if Jalen Smith, he wants to play him, but I hope they don't waste minutes and waste games trying to figure this out. It's like just play your best players.
No more experiments.
No more. I don't think they have to, just because we have the veterans and a good mix of good young rookies. Or not rookies, but good young players.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna read a comment, but I'm trying to get caught up here.
There's a lot of them. I'm not even seeing any comments.
Shout out to the homie JV. This is a supporter of mine. Really good dude. He said, if I was an NBA free agent, I would sign with the Suns so that Suns Geek would make a video about it.
That's fantastic.
That's why I love doing these live streams, because we get hilarious supporters in here. They leave funny comments. You guys are all awesome. Thank you guys so much for being in here right now. Thank you guys for leaving your funny comments. And we are going to address the chat later. We're going to answer questions, read your funny comments. So start flooding the chat. I do got a couple other things that I want to talk to you guys about before
real quick. Let me throw a couple numbers at you. All right, Suns Geek. So you look at the way that Mikal Bridges was deployed last year. 78% of the time it was small forward. 10% was at the power forward position. If you look at the way that Jay Crowder was deployed in Memphis, not in Miami, he was deployed as the power forward 25% of the time. 73% of the time he played the small forward. So again, he's a little undersized if we choose to go with him as the starting 4. I'm really interested to see if Cam Johnson potentially would be that starting 4 or Mikal Bridges, and Crowder should be your starting 3. It looks like is the way that the kind of the numbers in his career have lined up.
Yeah. And it's great stat and fact, by the way. It's also too, Jay Crowder kind of had a interesting journey because he kind of was a journeyman. And I don't even think he played for the Heat that long. So
no, it's like 20 games.
That's why when I read those stats about Dario and Jay Crowder, it was kind of misleading, because it's like, it's kind of like you pointed out. It's the usage rate of him being at the power forward and all that. So thank you for coming with the stats and facts, by the way.
I know how to look up Basketball Reference real quick when I'm on a podcast.
I kind of wanted to. I'm sorry, Matt.
I was just saying it's the go-to.
Yeah, right.
Basketball Reference.
And Big Merc 83 in the chat. Jalen Smith is a 73 on 2K.
Oh,
the more you know.
I've been slacking on my 2K this year. I'm not gonna lie. I don't have the new gen yet.
You have to have the new gen.
Yeah, like I did get 2K21. That's just because I'm a slave to 2K, and I don't know. I buy their products, and I don't know. I've just been busy putting in the work on the channel, so I just haven't really been playing.
That's good. Yeah, we were talking about last podcast. It's like we're playing video games, but we have other things we should be doing. So. We'll just get to that age. Just got to turn it off.
Exactly. I have another question here. What offseason move is not being talked about enough for the Phoenix Suns, or what is your favorite Phoenix Suns move this offseason? I mean, obviously it could be the Chris Paul move, but I kind of mentioned it earlier. I felt like the Jay Crowder move was kind of overlooked, but is there another move we're not even talking about that's going to be a huge factor in celebrating this offseason?
Oh yeah, big time. It's bringing back Dario Saric.
Yes, sir.
Between him and bringing back Javon Carter, those are the kind of the low key moves that you need to shore up this bench, bring up ensure depth for your team, and bring back guys that want to be here. Restricted free agent when it comes to, I think, both of them, but they both wanted to come back here. And they both got signed on 3-year deals, and they both bought into this culture that we've developed with Monty Williams and James Jones over this past year. Because again, Suns fans, remember this. This is the first time in 6-7 years that we've had the same head coach for 2 seasons straight.
Amen.
So we actually are building a foundation and where players want to come back. And I really think that bringing Dario Saric back is going to fortify that bench, man. He's accepting the role of being the sixth man, being the first guy off the bench, a little more ball handling, which he showcased in the bubble. And, obviously Chris Paul, obviously Jay Crowder, Chris Paul's the big trade. Jay Crowder's the big signing via free agency, but bringing back those two guys is really going to do great things for this team.
Yeah, I agree. The Saric thing is just great because we've been rooting for him the whole offseason to come back, the short offseason that we did have. But just I can't overlook the Chris Paul just because of the layers. Because if Chris Paul doesn't sign here, I don't feel like a lot of these players will be excited to come back. I know last year players wanted to play here, but now I feel like Saric wants to be here even more. We go out and get the veterans like Etuan Moore, which is a great ad. Like you actually have the guy to come in who has a lot of experience to take over the second team. He can play one or two, shoot the lights out, which James Jones keeps talking about. He's like, I just want to add shooters. And that's what they keep doing, 3-point shooters and just the veterans on this team. But I just think the Chris Paul thing, man, you can go layer by layer. It's like Devin Booker, you got him to stay here. Now he's even more bought in than he was ever before. Even if he wasn't, who knows? Because there's always so many rumors. I feel like we don't have to hear about it anymore with Devin Booker. It's because now they're bringing in players like, hey, we're going to make you happy. So it's just so hard to overlook Chris Paul for that fact because of how we want to make Devin Booker happy. And just all the players want to play here because of him. And also, I think just the front office too as well. So, but yeah, I think Saric, besides besides the actual Chris Paul signing, I feel like Dario Saric was that has to be it for me.
Thank you guys. Like I said, that's the show. I have nothing else to say. No, that's perfect summary.
I blacked out. What did I even say? I blacked out there for a little bit.
No, you went on a great rant and you said everything that I was going to say. And I'll just kind of follow up with that. I don't know how long Chris Paul's going to be here. I hope that it's for the rest of his career. But if he can embrace these young guys and change their careers and help their careers, I'm all for it. I really feel like Dario Saric, I feel like, in my opinion, he was a fan favorite. We all know that Javon Carter is a fan favorite. But Dario Saric embracing that six-man role, coming back, and like you guys said, players wanting to be in Phoenix. Like 2 seasons ago, that wasn't even a thought. And it's truly, it makes me excited. It makes me happy. And, James Jones and Jeff Bauer and the rest of the Suns management team, they deserve a lot of credit. Monty Williams and his coaching staff. Things are changing in Phoenix here. And it's.
Well, I don't know how much that Dario's a fan favorite because he's really frustrating to watch. I mean, I've never seen a guy miss more layups than he does,
Except for the bubble. Yeah,
except for the bubble, but that's when he's playing his different role, and I think that Dario Saric, what you get with Dario Saric is a guy who cares, a guy who hustles hard. Yep. And you can never get pissed off at Dario Saric for taking a bad three or missing one of those layups because he shouldn't be down there. Like he doesn't have the athletic ability to do it, but he cares so much. I don't know if you remember Lou Amundsen.
Yes,
Lou
sir.
Amundsen is one of those guys who was, the gazelle. He maximized his talent.
He dive into the stands for a ball.
Yes, I mean he cared, and I think that it's key to have those guys on your team. I'll tell you, I'll throw some F-bombs at the TV this year because I know that Dario Saric is going to be in, and he doesn't have the hops to dunk it, so I'll put a little layup up, and he'll miss it, and it'll be frustrating. But you know what? That's part of the package you get with him, with the passion that he has, with the hustle that he has. Those are the pros. The cons are he can't hit layups sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, just really quick to follow up on that. I was going to say the thing we saw in the bubble, I feel like it's just because he changed his workout regimen. He changed the way he ate. I'm not going to say that's going to help him make a layup, but it's going to help his body a little bit to get the ball up there a little bit easier. Because that was one thing. He couldn't jump over a nickel, and he would just hit the bottom of the rim a lot of the time. So that was kind of frustrating.
Yeah, it was.
I'm going to kind of move subjects here. I promised Ethan that I would answer a question, and this kind of follows up with really our off-season talk, who should start at power forward. But this is kind of a different question. Who will be our backup point guard? Also thoughts on how many wins we will get. The reason I kind of wanted to answer that particular question is because I've seen it in the chat already. People are talking about campaign, who I absolutely love, and we've been talking about the bubble, and I feel like James Jones is still a believer in him too. He talked about him recently on a media session that Campaign has really embraced his role here in Phoenix. And I feel like Campaign's mindset has changed because obviously he was out of the league for a while. I think he played in the G League. He played overseas and all that. But, even if he wasn't like the bubble MVP. He was one of the best stories of the NBA bubble, and he's going to continue that headed into this season. I remember a couple months ago, he told one of the media members, he's like, I'm ready to play right now. So it's like, what do you guys think on campaign, and who do you guys think should be our backup point guard? Let's start with you, John.
It's obviously that's going to be a tough one. I'm more of the thinking of Javon Carter. Right. No matter both of these guys, you're not going to get stellar playmaking ability. You know, when Chris Paul comes out of the game, Devin Booker most likely is going to remain on the court in an effort to ensure that playmaking occurs. With campaign and with Javon Carter, you get a little bit more defensive intensity. They're willing to play full court press. They're willing to get up into the gorilla guys and just kind of, be annoyances. And I think that that's clearly what their appeal is. I think, to your point, Brandon, he was out of the league last year, and the bubble was a great bubble performance, and you can't take away from that. But at the same time, there's a reason he was out of the league last year. And there's a reason he was playing overseas. And, he's one of Monty's guys. You got to remember that. He played with Monty before. So he's a guy who Monty Williams likes, who buys into Monty's system and the way that Monty structures his team. So he'll always have a role in this team because of that. But we shouldn't expect for an entire 72-game season that campaign is your backup point guard. I think it's going to be a combination of both the guys. Here's the difference. You look at last year, when Ricky Rubio would go out of the game, it'd be Elia Kobo, typically first off the bench, Javon Carter, and then Ty Jerome. We've upgraded that now. Now we have Javon Carter still, you have Cameron Payne. And then Langston Galloway, he can play a little bit of point too, but he's more of a two, just like Etuan Moore is. So you have guys who can score versus guys who are meant to play make, knowing that Devin Booker is probably going to be the primary playmaker once CP3 leaves the court. But I think, kind of a long answer to a quick answer is Javon Carter should be the backup, in my opinion. I mean, C4 has worked his ass off and should be.
Matthew?
Yeah. Speaking of working your butt off, so I saw a quote by Mikal Bridges. I don't know if this is true or not, but Campaign's the most improved player he thinks is going to come into the season. And that's
I am wrong.
Well, no. I'm going to say Javon Carter, but I got to say Campaign. So he's got the opportunity to come back and he has a chance to actually make the team again. And he's on the team, but not only that, he's taking it seriously now. Like he had a lot of upside coming in the NBA, and he just, I don't feel like took advantage of it. Now he knows with Monty, he has to take advantage of it, and he has. So I heard, or what I saw, is that he's been actually improving his body, his game, everything. When he comes out to play, everyone's going to be amazed. We already were in the bubble, but we know it is the bubble. So you can't be like, okay, that's my game. I'm just going to go out there and shoot crazy threes. He has to improve a lot more on the offensive end. Like you were saying, he can't really come in and take over the offense, but maybe that's something we can see this year. But Javon Carter, man, he's earned it. I mean, he got re-signed, which John talked about before, but he's a perfect backup, I feel like, to CP3. And I think he's going to learn a lot from CP3 to get this offense going in the second unit. And he's that guy. I feel like he can actually get some plays going. He's not going to just shoot the three. He's going to do a lot more on the offensive end. So I would say Javon Carter, but Campaign, I just love hearing that he is getting better than what he already was. So I'm excited to see that. I love how every player wants to play here and they want to get better. That's great to know.
I'm sorry. Great rant, by the way. I totally agree. But this comment here, I can't listen because I'm watching a Christmas movie with my kids, but just had to hop on and say that Matthew's lack of facial hair throws off I can't even finish that.
You know how hard it was for me to decide, do I shave for this podcast or do I leave it on in like a couple days?
If I'm correct,
those are the troubles I go through.
Shout out to Justin.
Shout out to Justin, man.
How does he see my facial hair? How do you even see it?
There's none. Justin knows. Justin knows.
Oh man.
Real quick, did you guys see this tweet? It's hard to see. This is the Suns' reaction.
Oh, yeah.
Christmas is canceled because they didn't get a Christmas game, man. That's kind of crap, isn't it? Like, what would be better than Christmas Day, Suns versus Mavs, man?
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't too excited. I like to just sit there.
That.
I like to take naps and watch all 6 games and just be disgusting.
Yeah, but imagine one of them being a Suns game. That would have been a fantastic Christmas.
Yeah.
The way that I look at this, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Go for it.
Sure, the Suns had an amazing bubble run. They had a great offseason, but we're just unfortunately not there yet. I feel like the media, the big time media, is going to still sleep on us. We're not going to get that many national TV games. That's just I wasn't surprised when the Suns weren't. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm disappointed. It's just like the Arizona Cardinals, man. Like they got like a Sunday night game and a Monday night game. They got flexed into one of those Sunday night games. It's like,
right.
It's just nice to have a little bit of respect. But that's one thing we were talking about on the last edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast was expectations and how going into this year, you actually have expectations. And as a Suns fan, that's a scary thing. I mean, we really haven't had any expectations since 2008. 2010 was an aberration. 2008 was a failure following a 2007/8 run. So it's been a long time since we've actually entered a season with expectations. And you have to navigate, what does that feel like again? For a lot of Suns fans who are younger, this is a new feeling. So, this is the first kind of disappointment of those expectations is like we were hoping we'd get a Christmas game and we didn't.
Honestly, I didn't care. I'm sorry, I didn't care.
Why am I the only one who cares?
Hey, no, everyone cares.
I definitely care too. I'm just not really surprised. I'm not
surprised either.
Matthew's got the Christmas tree in the background.
I was in
great
a good
job,
mood.
by the way. That looks
amazing.
I
looked good today. I thought I looked good today. And that comment just threw me off. The rest of the pod, I'm not talking.
That was Justin from Fanning the Flames. He likes to bust your balls there, Matthew.
That's going to kind of lead us into our next segue here. We're just going to take questions and comments from the chat. If you guys are down, we can go for another 15 minutes. That'd be about an hour.
Down, man. I got nothing to do. So why does everybody talk about you being the teacher? What's the inside joke there? Because I noticed that on your last live stream, everybody was talking about how you were the teacher and you had a great homework. I got to know what the inside joke is. Break it down.
John, I can see that you've done this podcasting thing before because you're kind of carrying this show, man. Congratulations.
I know how to host.
Exactly. I'm going to pay you to host these live streams for me because you're amazing.
I'll make badass graphics.
So since we're kind of getting to know you guys here, I might have told you guys this privately, but and a lot of my subscribers know, a lot of my followers know, I actually work in childcare.
Okay.
So for some reason, a lot of my younger subscribers feel like I'm a teacher, something like that. And I've even seen like a couple
Professor Suns Geek.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And by the way, there might be merch coming out soon involving this inside joke.
Hey, cool. You utilize Redbubble.
Yeah, I know, right? Definitely.
That's a good nickname to have, though, the teacher, man.
Before we get to the comments, thank you for reminding me, John. Can we ask you about this incredible artwork here that you've actually kind of turned into merchandise and t-shirts? Can we talk about this incredible work here?
Oh, sure thing. So what that is, it's actually located behind me.
Comment. Sorry.
It is it's 3 feet by 4 feet. I painted that. I like to create in all ways, shapes, and forms. So I'm a painter as well and an artiste. So I made this in my garage and I use it for the backdrop of my podcast. But as I was creating it and putting it out there on social media, I got a lot of great feedback and people who wanted to buy the original print. Mm-hmm. And I'm not selling the original print. This one right here behind me, not selling it. It was a lot of time and effort went into that and hard work.
Yeah, I'm showing it again.
But what I did is I actually took it and I put it on the Suns Jam Session Redbubble page, which has merchandise. And it's a high resolution print, and you can actually buy that print. If you can put it on coffee mugs, and you can buy canvas prints, art prints. You can get stickers, a shower curtain. I just had somebody today.
I need that shower curtain.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Did someone buy a shower curtain?
No. Somebody bought a clock though. Like you can get that design on a clock.
Oh, that's so cool. That's a good idea.
So it's really cool. The link is somewhere on the internet.
I'll find it and I'll put it in the description because I'm gonna go buy like everything when I have the money.
And I see somebody. Yeah, it's acrylic on canvas is the original is what I did. And again, thank you to everybody who supported and continues to support that labor of love there. That was really fun to make. And it's been really cool watching how people have responded to it. So I appreciate it.
Matt, do you got any thoughts on that incredible work before I go on my little rant about it?
No, I mean, I love it. I wake up every morning thinking about it. Gets me motivated. I can't. I love it. I mean, I hear about it every day, but besides that, I love it.
Yeah. No, it's over.
I want to buy something. I wanted to buy the shower curtain because my shower curtain is disgusting. So I'm like, I might as well get that.
Like I saw the website, but I didn't know a shower curtain. I was like, that's incredible, man.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Did you answer how long it took?
Over about 3.5 weeks. Wow. What I would do is I just, I'd pick a sun and then I'd go in, I'd spend 2.5 hours painting them, put on a podcast, put on some music, get lost for a while and just kind of and painted it. And, I started with Booker and I kind of worked my way up and over. And essentially what it is, it's all the Suns who are in the Ring of Honor,
yes, sir.
plus Amari Stoudemire, Devin Booker, and Sean Marion. So those are the three who I feel should be in there. But that's it's the Suns Ring of Honor plus that. So because you get a lot of questions like, well, who's that? Who's that? It's like Alvin Adams, Dick Van Arsdale, some old school Suns players. So
I'm a big fan of Dick Van Arsdale and Alvin Adams and all them. So I'm glad that you got them on there. And just once again, man, I had to throw that in there. We had to show the viewers.
I appreciate it.
I'll plug that page because you deserve a lot of sales off that hard work. I just can't believe it took you 3 weeks. That's like, I don't got the patience for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm doing that while I'm like podcasting and doing all that fun stuff. But I mean, that's in fact what I was doing today is I have a ton of old paintings that I did. I mean, if you look back here, what I do is you take high resolution pictures of these, then you put them on like this one. There's an old Star Wars painting I did right there.
Hey, let's go. That's awesome.
So that'll be on my Darth Vader Designs Redbubble page. There's a Suns Jam Session Redbubble page, and then Darth Vader Designs is where I put all my kind of like personal stuff.
Shout out to my boy Aaron who said you need to make Suns Geek artwork for a shirt.
I can do it. I mean, you can get this print on a shirt. That's the cool thing about it now. It's like it's beautiful. And what I essentially learned is I used to sell my art via Etsy, and if somebody purchased the original, by the time you package up and send it, like I'd lose $30 every time. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Unless you're coming to my house on like offer up and I'm selling to you for cash. Going through Redbubble allows me an opportunity to design things, put them on merchandise, and then people can buy them, and it's fantastic. I mean, we get to share the Phoenix Suns love to everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like pretty soon everyone's gonna have a piece of that artwork. Like Craig Hamill, Twitter.
Craig Hamill is
you see
great.
it all over the place, dude. And plus, I was gonna say, like, Kelly Oubre has the same facial hair, and I don't understand why he gets more recognition than I do. That he looks more beautiful. I just don't get it. Same kind of facial hair.
Because he's on HD cameras.
Oh, okay, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, get an HD webcam, and we'll be able to see those 3 hairs on your chin.
Rick Johnson says, I like the idea of this lineup. Booker,
shout out
Payne,
Rick.
Carter, McHale, Crowder. Defense, running, shooting around Book. I honestly didn't think of that, to be honest.
The mixing and matching is just going to be endless.
Yes,
It really is. Any lineup out there, I can't complain about.
Can we just fuse Campaign and Javon Carter into one super player and just have our backup point guard right there?
Them two together in the bubble, dude, they were running fun. They were the most fun to watch in the bubble. I look forward to watching them more than any other duo out there.
So Roy, by the way, Roy's a big time supporter. He's a good dude. I've talked to him a lot. He helps continue this teacher joke. Say, make a painting of Suns Geek teaching class.
All right, I gotta get a picture of it, then I can paint it from there.
Right. Someone says Suns are gonna go 47 and 25.
Okay, prediction. Okay,
yeah, prediction time.
So we did this on our last podcast with Dave King. I ended up saying that the Suns are going to go 44 and 28 is my final prediction. And then Matthew, what did you say? 49 and some change?
Yep, 49 wins. And what, 23? 49 23, right?
Whatever math, 49 and 72 minus, this is fun having people watch me do math, and 23.
Even though I'm a teacher, I'm absolutely terrible at math. So I'm going to be that biased, stubborn Suns fan and say that the Suns are going to go 72-0. You heard it here on Suns Geek.
It's possible, man.
Everything is possible.
Yeah, guys. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, guys. I appreciate everyone who's I
Dude,
think that
flies by, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it flies by. I mean, I'm looking at the chat. They're kind of slacking over here.
Give us some questions. Come on.
I want to talk about John's painting some more. Come on.
All right. We'll talk about John's painting. Hold on. I got to pull it up. There we go.
I'm going to paint John one of these days.
All right. So what I did is I went to Michael's and I bought some canvas and paint. Okay. And I got like a neon orange and then like a burnt orange and then a deep purple. And
actually, I got a spontaneous question for you guys.
Bring it.
How did this come about?
Oh, that's all John.
Yeah.
So, graphic design is another thing that I do. So, I designed the Suns Jam Session podcast logo. Then I got a picture of both Matthew and myself, and I used an app on my phone to create it, make it a little digital. Nice. I do this all in Adobe Illustrator, and then I just use the old Jam Session kind of logo that they have back, NBA Jam Tournament Edition. and I kind of created our little icon / logo for it. So we use our primary, which is in the middle there. And then this is the logo that we utilize whenever we put anything out via Bright Side of the Sun. So volume, I'm louder than Matthew. Takes, he has better takes than I do, I believe.
We made this stuff up.
We're kind of, we're both full on Suns fans.
And it took me, I think, 20 pictures to get the right one, just so my forehead didn't look too big.
I hear you on that, man.
My sister was like, "Why are you getting so many pictures of my brother?" I'm like, I don't know.
Well, no, like I said, you guys coming up with the Suns Jam Session podcast, especially since your names are in the jam. It's very clever. You guys do great work. I love the paintings. I love the picture that I just showed. I guess that's your guys' logo in a way.
Yes,
it's great stuff. You guys do great work. Once again, the Suns Jam Session podcast. Links down below in the description. We're going to take a couple more comments here. We'll end it at the hour mark. We're 55 minutes in.
Perfect.
And honestly, it feels like we've only been here for 20, to be honest.
Seriously.
So Drake says, do you think we see a platoon system with this roster? What do you mean by platoon?
Absolutely. So essentially what he's saying is what I was saying a little bit earlier is, do we platoon different positions? Yeah, you do it based on the matchups that we're playing. That's the beauty when healthy of this team is the versatility.
Yeah.
Rick Johnson brought up that lineup earlier, which has, Booker as your scorer and kind of your defensive guy. You can go full. Oops, I'm off camera. You can go,
John's the ghost.
You can go full defense if you want to. You can go CP3, Javon Carter, Jay Crowder, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton. I mean, there's so many different kinds of lineups that Monty can deploy. It's going to be exciting to see how he utilizes them.
See, I feel like you pick your 5. Maybe you can change up the 4 once in a while, but just stick. I don't care about the matchups. You'll find them later in the game if you want, but I want to keep the mojo going. If the starting 5 is playing good, just keep them. Don't change it because of the matchups. I'm not a big matchup guy like in fantasy football. Just play your best player. Every time I change it because of the matchup, I lose. So, I mean, it's nothing to do with the NBA, but that's just what I think.
Do you guys think Jalen Smith was the best possible pick?
No.
As of right now?
No.
That comes from the offensive Bowman.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, we love him. Yeah, we do.
We'll learn a lot. Devin Vassell was the guy who I think the majority, and Halliburton. I mean, they were both sitting right there on the board. Depending on what your take was on how you felt the Suns should approach their roster needs, both of those needs were there. And we went with, it was a wing, a guard, or a big, and we went with the big. And that was kind of, I had written an article on Brightside earlier, like 2 days before, and I think only 14%, I put a poll on there, and only 14% of the Brightside readers chose a big as what they thought or our need was. And that's what we ended up going with. So, James Jones, this is where we're going to see if his magic works. We trusted in Ryan McDonough after he drafted TJ Warren and Devin Booker. So we're kind of following the same thing right now with James Jones, and we're going to see if it works out.
Yeah, I mean, I totally changed my tune, but a lot of people really didn't like my initial draft day reaction because I was like, trade the pick, because I didn't know. I thought maybe James Jones was drafting for another team. I didn't know. We didn't know anything.
No, everyone wanted to trade the pick, dude. You weren't the other one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like the way you said that. It's just like, we'll learn to love him. What do you guys think of Damian Jones? He's super athletic. He can catch lobs like crazy.
Matthew, you can go
for the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, the guy who plays for the.
Yeah, he's from the Hawks. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really have any. So he's, like you said, he's athletic, but I think he's just a guy that's really going to be like our last guy on the bench. So I don't really have much thoughts, man. I don't think he's going to see a lot of playing time, right?
He'll be a good practice player. He'll get these guys going.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, he's the guy who kind of fills out your roster in case that injury or, Ayton gets another PD suspension. But yeah, I mean, you look at kind of he's averaged 14 minutes in his career, 4.6 points. He doesn't shoot from deep. His field goal percentage is crazy. It's actually an eerie 6.66, but that's because he just dunks. He's a guy who potentially could run the pick and roll in garbage time. I mean, hopefully that's what his role is. That's what I hope. If we're relying on Damon Jones to get us through games, man, like we're beat up and injured or something bad's happened. So you have to fill out your bench. You have to cover all your bases, and that's what Damon Jones is. He's a base coverer.
Suns Geek gotta go lesson plan for class tomorrow. That's why he's trying to go. Says Luke. Aaron
trying to kick us out.
Will we have 3 All-Stars by the end of the year? I'm going to take this one first and say no, but we'll probably have 3 All-Stars or more by the end of the decade. Devin Booker,
that.
Ayton, maybe Mikal Bridges, maybe Chris Paul's an All-Star this year. You never know.
Yep, it's endless on this team.
Well, this one's easy because your All-Stars are determined halfway through the year. So by the end of the year, it doesn't matter. I think that we have 2 potential All-Stars, but based on the depth of the West, if we get Devin Booker there, I'll be happy. I mean, CP3 potentially could be there, and Ayton, in all honesty, could get there as well. I think Ayton will get an All-NBA team nod, 3rd or 2nd team, because I feel that Jokic, who got the 3rd or the 2nd team last year, and Gobert, who got the 3rd team, they both could have some digression, especially Gobert this year. So I think Ayton, from an All-NBA standpoint, my hope is we get 2 to 3 All-NBA players.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Once again, thank you so much for everyone who is in the chat asking questions. I hate to wrap this up, but I do got some teacher stuff I got to do apparently. So Matthew, do you have any final thoughts? And Matthew, where can they find you? And then John, we'll get to you.
You can find me at Twitter, at Matthew Lissy. That's basically it, dude. I do nothing really with social media too much, but NBA Jam, Suns Jam Session, Bright Side of the Sun, I write a few articles here and there. And that's about it for me, man. But what about you, John? Where can they find you?
Well, first and foremost, thank you, Suns Geek, for having us on. It's truly a pleasure.
Thank you, man.
Positivity breeds great things, and I think that the way that we've always communicated, it's been fun. It's been a great time, and this was fun as well. You can follow me at Darth Voida on Twitter. You can read what I write on Bright Side of the Sun. Should have I did an article today. Another one's coming out tomorrow. So the Suns Jam Session, which you can follow on Twitter as well as at Suns Jam. We go live every Sunday night and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Arizona time. So I don't know what that means wherever you are, but go ahead and join us. It's a lot of fun. We do those podcasts, and those podcasts come out on the Bright Side of the Sun podcast network. So wherever you get your podcasts, go ahead and search Bright Side, and that's where we are. You can find us as well as Fanning the Flames, which is the other podcast on Bright Side of the Sun. Justin. So our live, you can find Justin and Paul. They do a great job at Fanning the Flames as well. So you can join us for the live show, or you can listen, if you're a podcaster and you like to listen to your content, you can find us on the Bright Side of the Sun podcast network following that. But again, it's great to see all these Suns fans out here. Let's go, man. Like, this is our season. Let's go. Let's get excited. And it's coming fast, man. It's December 1st today. We got 22 or 21 days now, 3 weeks until the regular season starts. Let's go, baby.
It's come to the point to where I think we can all 3 agree to this. I've had to take like mental health breaks and do non-related basketball things because I've just been putting in that work.
Yes, sir.
And I know you guys have too.
Yeah, it's endless, but it's a lot of fun, dude. We'll probably, how many times are we going to do this year or this next year coming up?
Well, I know one thing that we're talking about doing on the Suns Jam Session podcast is once games are over, is we'll probably do at least a 30-minute live stream podcast. And Suns Geek will be more than happy to have you on if it works with your scheduling. I know that the solar panel, who's now partnered with Fox Sports Arizona, their kind of game plan is to do the same thing, but 30 minutes after the show.
Exactly.
Or I'm sorry, 30 minutes after the game ends. So we might go live right afterwards, so you can come hang out with us and then watch the Sun solar panel. And I'll tell you what, it's better. I don't know how your channel works, but ours is better than the post game show on Fox Sports Arizona because they have commercials and we say the F word. So I mean, come on,
and you drink a beer.
Yeah, we drink a beer. We're fans just like you.
We'll be in the locker room right after the game, so who knows who's going to come by? A Suns player, maybe from the visiting team. Who knows?
Yeah,
who's coming out of the shower? We'll just say, "Hey, come on."
For the people that are in here, we still got about 40 people, by the way. Once again, awesome. I keep plugging it. Go check out the Suns Jam Session podcast. Check out Bright Side of the Sun. They do great work over there. And I'm kind of doing the same thing. My subscribers know. I used to do videos after games, and that's cool and all, but like, I think live streams are where it's at. Because I remember I did a live stream nearly every game after the bubble.
Yes.
And that really helped my channel grow. And it's just kind of a better way to engage with fans and all that. So I'm definitely down to join your guys' live streams in the future. I want you guys back on this channel as soon as possible. I was on your channel October 16th, and here we are. It's December 1st. So I feel like we're going to kind of keep this trend going here.
Heck yeah.
And I'm glad that, it's like I said, we're Suns fans. Things are changing in Phoenix. And I'm just so excited for this upcoming season.
And my body's still changing. So it's all coming together.
He's growing that facial hair, baby.
Yeah.
All righty, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. Once again, make sure to Hulk smash the like button. All the links are down below in the description. Subscribe for everything Phoenix Suns. And if it has to deal with the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make a video about it. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Take care, everybody. Go home and love your family.